Hi, my name is Kurt Bowman and welcome to Yoga for Old Guys. It's a cold February day here in Fargo, North Dakota, and the joints are extra stiff. So we're going to do a warm-up and see if we can get things limbered up, and then have about a 30-minute yoga practice. So let's get started. Come into a comfortable seated position, whether the legs are out and straight out in front of you or crossed, your choice. Just allow your hands, palms to rest on your legs. Sit up as straight as you're able. The sits bones ground into the firmly in, and just take a few seconds to still your mind, to bring your thoughts into the present, bring them into the workout. Don't think about 2 minutes ago or anything in the future. Just come into the present. Get your mind and body in the same spot. Open your eyes and take a deep breath in through the nostrils. Exhale, always breathing in through the nostrils and exhaling through the nostrils. One more time. Inhale, arms overhead. Drop your left hand to the ground and lean into the left. Open up the right ribs. Just try not to bend forward or back. Just lean off to the left, curl, stretch out the right ribs. Come back up the center. Drop the right fingers to the ground and lean right, open up the left side. Coming back up to center. Twist off to your left. Twisting with your torso. Let your left shoulder drop. Look over your left shoulder. Remember to twist with your body, not your eyes. Inhale back to center. Twist to the right. Don't force that shoulder up. Keep it away from the ears. Twisting with your torso. Come back to center. Legs out in front. Bring your left knee up. Hug it in tightly toward your chest. Bring your heel as close to the right glute as you're able. And now twist again to the left. Focus this time on pushing that left knee over to the right with your elbow. Stretching the left hip a little bit. Left leg back out in front. Bring the right knee up. Right heel as close to the left glute as you're able. Twist off to the right and push that right knee over to the left. See if you can start to open up the right hip. Come back to center. Both feet out. Bring both feet in. Put the soles of your feet together. Pull them in towards your pelvic region. And just allow the knees to fall away from each other. keeping your back straight. Just push down slightly with your elbows onto your calves, pushing your legs a little bit further down. If they're already in the floor, that's good. If they're not, don't jam them down. Just put a little bit more stretch into it. Lean slightly forward with the back straight. Don't round out yet. A little forward, a little farther forward. Let's roll over to hands and knees. Big toes together, push back into child's pose. Walk the fingers further away from your body. Allow your neck and head to hang. Come up to tabletop. Curl your toes under. Just raise your knees, both knees off the ground, just a couple inches. Trying to keep everything square. Don't round your back yet. You're in kind of a tabletop, but your knees are not touching. Just take your right knee, touch it to your right elbow, come back. Left knee, left elbow, come back. Right, right. Left, left. Right, right. Left, left. Push back into downward facing dog. Just gently pedal out the heels. Push back into dog. Come out into high plank. Right knee, right elbow, back. Left knee, left, back. Right, right, back. Left, left, back. Right, right. Left, left. Push back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet, or walk your hands back to your feet. You're at the back of your mat. Slight bend in your knees. Let your head and that neck hang. Roll up to standing and come into mountain. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Again, a little bit of a bend in your knees for right now. Walk your hands out to high plank. Curl your, or point your toes straight back. Just drop your hips. Come into an upward facing dog. Just a gentle upward facing dog. Curl your toes back. Come into downward facing dog. And now walk your feet towards your hands. Up to the front of your mat and forward fold. Come into a halfway lifted. Focus on getting your shoulders wide, back straight. Look out a few inches in front of you. Get your neck and head straight. Forward fold. Roll up to standing and come into mountain. Intentionally roll your shoulders back and down. Do that again. Bring them up, back and down. Open your palms up. Get the shoulders stretched out. Take a breath. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Come into high plank. Lower very slowly into chaturanga. Point your toes back. Come up to upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to the back of your mat. Forward fold. Roll up to mountain pose. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Walk your hands out to high plank. Push back into downward dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Bring your left foot forward. Drop your back knee. Point your toes back. Come up with your hands on your left knee. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer twist to the left. Your right knee is down, your back knee is down. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the ground. Push back into high plank. Now into downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Right foot forward, drop your back knee. Come up with your hands on your right knee. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer twist to the right. Remember to drop your back elbow. Twist with your torso. Inhale, arms overhead. Hands back down to the mat. Push back into high plank. Push back into downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg, three-legged dog. Left foot forward. Drop your back foot for warrior one. Pivot for warrior two. Check your position. Is your torso over your hips? Check your front knee. Can you see your big toe, first two toes? Drop your back hand. Reverse warrior. Warrior two. Drop your left elbow onto your knee. Hand up overhead for side angle. Put your back against that wall. Head and neck back. Come back up into warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Pivot out to over your left hip and come into triangle. Focusing always on this position, not folding down to your right, pushing back against that proverbial wall. Come back into warrior two. Hands down to the mat. Push back into high plank. Downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Bring your right foot forward. Drop your back leg for warrior one. Square up the hips. Pivot into Warrior Two. Drop your backhand. Reverse Warrior. Come into Warrior Two. Drop your front elbow. Come into side angle. Check your back and neck. Back into Warrior Two. Straighten your front leg. Lean out over your right leg. Come into triangle pose. It's not how low you can go with your right hand in this case. It's how straight you can keep your back. Don't curl into it. Come back into Warrior Two. Windmill hands to the floor. Come back into high plank. Push back into downward facing dog. Look between your hands. Hop or step to the front of your mat. Come into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Roll back up into mountain pose. Shoulders back and down. Take a breath in and out your nose. Vinyasa flow, just a little faster. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, come into high plank. Lower very slowly to chaturanga. Pause. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Right foot forward, drop the back leg. Pivot into Warrior Two. The backhand, reverse warrior. Come into Warrior Two. Drop the front elbow, side angle. Warrior. Straighten the front leg. Pivot out to the right and come into triangle. Come back up to Warrior Two. Windmill the arms to the floor. High plank. Push back into downward facing dog. Look between your hands. Hop or step to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll yourself up to mountain. Take a breath. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, come into high plank. Lower very slowly into chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Left foot forward. Drop your back foot, come into Warrior One. Pivot into Warrior Two. Check your front knee alignment. Drop your backhand, reverse warrior. Come into Warrior Two. Drop your left elbow. come into side angle. Back into warrior two. Straighten your front leg, pivot out over left, and come into triangle. Come back into warrior two. Windmill the arms to the floor. Come into high plank. Push back into downward facing dog. Look between your hands. Hop or step to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifted. Exhale, forward fold. Roll yourself up to stand. Shoulders back and down. Inhale, hands on the hips. Swing your right foot out to about 3 or 4 feet apart. Bend forward at the waist and come into a forward fold. Legs 3 or 4 feet, or feet 3 or 4 feet apart. Walk your fingers over to your left toes. Just reach. Bring them back to center. Walk them to the right toes. Bring them back to center. Bend the left knee a little and lean into the left knee. Push your sits bones back. Put your glutes back a little bit like you're sitting back. Don't jam up your groin, but just stretch it out. Come back up to center. Bend your right knee and just drop your glutes back a few inches. Intensify that stretch in the left groin, left leg. Come back to center, forward fold. Hands on the hip. Come up to stand. Bring your right foot forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Come into high plank. Push back into downward facing dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Bring the left foot forward. Keep up on your right toes and come into crescent lunge. Drop your left hand. Bring your right elbow over to your left knee and come into prayer twist to the left, keeping your back leg straight. Come back into crescent lunge, hands overhead. Bring your hands down to the side. Just lean forward with your chest. Back up to crescent. Hands down to the mat. Push back into plank and now downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Right foot forward. You're up on your left toes. Come into crescent lunge. Drop your right hand, arm, left elbow, right knee. Prayer twist to the right. Come back into crescent. Bring your arms down to your side. Lean forward, chest out. Come back into crescent. Hands to the mat. High plank. Push back into downward facing dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Bring your left knee up by your left hand. Point your right toes back. I'm going to go into pigeon. As I've said before, the full expression of pigeon in this case is to have the left shin 90 degrees. But if you're feeling any torque on your knee, just put it where it's comfortable. The big thing here is to allow your pelvis to drop straight down. Don't roll to the left or to the right. Push your right toes further back. Just allow your pelvis to sink. Now if you're able, come down to your forearms or a block, or if you're further able yet, come down onto your forehead. Don't roll to the left or right. Pelvis drops straight down. You can better facilitate that by pushing your right toes back. Come back up to fingertips. Now, left leg, three-legged dog. Shake out that left leg. Come into downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Right knee up by your right wrist. Bring your shin forward just a little bit, much as you want. Push your left toes further away from your body. And up on your fingertips now, just allow the pelvis to sink straight down. Come down to your forearms or forehead, whatever you did before on the other side. It's okay to stay up on your fingertips if that's where you're at today. If you feel your hip not being stretched, focus on pushing your back toes further away from your body. It's probably the largest muscle mass in your glutes and thighs. There's a lot of recoil there, memory, where they're going to want to pull away, come back in and ease up on that stretch. Come back up to fingertips. Curl back and come into right leg, three-legged dog. Shake out that leg. Push back into downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels. Drop the knees, toes together, push back into child's pose. Come up to tabletop and seated position. Roll back to your back. Come up into, bring your heels as close to your glutes as you can. Push up into bridge. Always remember that in bridge, you're onto your shoulder blades. Your shoulders, not your neck at all. Your neck shouldn't be impinged at all here. Raise your hips. Raise your hips. Come back down. One more time up. Come back down. With your knees still up, bring your right ankle onto your left, just by your left knee. We're going to do it's called Recline Pigeon. It's the same thing we did with Pigeon, but it's obviously on our backs. Reach down, pull your left thigh up, and pull it as close to your chest as you're able. Whole idea is you should feel this in your right hip. Come back down. Switch, bring your left ankle onto your right knee. Reach down, grab your right thigh and pull it up. You want to reach around to your front of your right knee, that's fine. Whole idea is push, in this case, push your left knee away from your chest, a little bit with your elbow, pull back at the same time, and you're stretching out that left hip a little bit more. Feet down to the ground, knees up. Right knee and thigh over the left. Pick your hips up, bring them to the right a couple inches, and drop both knees to the left. Put your right arm out. Look to your right. Come back up. Switch. Left knee over right. Left thigh over. Hips up. Hips to the left a couple inches and drop everything to the right. Look out over your left. Come back up. One more time to seated. Bring your feet in, soles of the feet together. Pull the heels as closely to the pelvis as you're able. Push down with your elbows. Get your knees a little wider apart. Again, don't do any damage. Now this time round your back a little bit. See how close you can get your forehead down to your toes. Breathe into it. Come back. Feet down in front of you or legs straight out in front of you. And just now Bend forward towards your toes as much as you're able. If your feet are down on your shins, that's fine. Just come down as far as you're able. Keep your back as straight as you're able, though. Of course, if you're laying down with your forehead on your shins, that's good. Come back up and roll back down onto your back. Bring your heels mat width apart, palms down, arms at your side for final Shavasana. Allow your body to fully relax. Come out of the breath. Roll over to your side. Push up into a seated position. Come back up to seated. Back straight, head and neck tall. Hopefully you are a little bit more limber than when we started. Bring your palms together. Drop your chin in gratitude to yourself for practicing today, and to you I say, Namaste. Again, thanks for practicing with me. I hope you enjoy this time together. Hope you get something from it. And again, if you have anything you would like me to incorporate, you can drop me a line at yogaforoldguys@gmail.com. Thanks again. See you next time.